Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in life when you look at the sky, whisper a prayer, and wonder, did anyone hear me? The power behind a prayer begins long before the words are spoken. It starts as a feeling, a stirring, a gentle movement within the deepest part of you. Long before your lips form the sentence, your heart has already whispered it. Prayer is not just language. It is intention shaped by emotion, faith, and the longing to rise above your current circumstances. When you pray, you are not sending a message into the void. You are aligning yourself with something larger than your fear, larger than your confusion, and larger than the limitations you believe you have. Prayer shifts the atmosphere of your inner world even when nothing around you seems to change at first. You may not feel the answer immediately, but something begins to rearrange within you. Your breathing slows, your thoughts soften, your anxiety loosens its grip. This internal shift is where the real power of prayer starts. It guides your mind away from chaos and pulls your attention toward clarity. It takes you from "I don't know what to do" to "I trust something greater than me is at work." Every prayer is an act of surrender and strength at the same time. It is you admitting that you cannot carry everything alone, and yet also recognizing that you have the courage to ask for help from the unseen. Prayer is a bridge between your limitations and infinite possibilities. It has the ability to calm storms you've been fighting internally for years, not because it magically solves everything instantly, but because prayer changes you asterisk, and when you change, the way you move through the world changes. Prayer reminds you that you are not alone, that there is wisdom available to you, guidance available to you, and support available to you in ways you may not fully grasp. Even when you feel lost, your prayer becomes a compass pointing you toward peace. When you direct your attention upward or inward, wherever you believe the divine resides, you lift your consciousness out of worry and plant it in trust. The power behind a prayer is also found in the energy it carries. Every thought you think and every word you speak holds vibration. A fearful thought sends out resistance. A faithful prayer sends out openness. The universe responds not to your panic, but to your alignment. When you pray with sincerity, you emit a frequency that begins attracting solutions, clarity, people, and opportunities that match your intention. So while it may seem like you're whispering into silence, you are actually beginning a process of transformation that works both within you and around you. Prayer is the moment you speak your truth, release your burden, and allow the unseen forces of creation to start moving on your behalf. When you step into the understanding that delayed does not mean denied, something profound begins to shift in the way you interpret your life. So often, when we pray for something and it doesn't appear in the timing we expect, the first instinct is to assume nothing is happening. We tell ourselves the universe is silent, God is distant, or maybe our prayer wasn't worthy of being answered. But delay is not a rejection. It is a restructuring, a preparation, a silent orchestration taking place behind the scenes. Life is not withholding from you. It is aligning for you. Every prayer you speak sets events in motion, but those events must unfold with precision, not haste. The universe is not interested in rushing, it is interested in rightness. That means certain things must shift, certain people must move, certain circumstances must evolve before the answer can arrive in its complete and beneficial form. If it came too early, you might not recognize it. If it came too quickly, you might not be ready for it. Timing is not a barrier. It is a form of protection. A delay often teaches you patience, resilience, and trust. Qualities not learned when everything arrives instantly. Think of how seasons unfold. Winter does not rush into spring simply because we grow tired of the cold. The soil must thaw, the roots must strengthen, and nature must prepare itself so growth can happen at the right moment. Your life operates in a similar rhythm. When you don't see immediate progress, the roots of your desire are growing beneath the surface, gaining strength before breaking through into your reality. A delay is a sign that something is being shaped for you, not taken from you. You are being guided toward experiences that will prepare you to receive what you asked for with clarity and maturity. Sometimes the delay is also an answer in disguise. You may be asking for something small while something greater is being arranged for you. You may think you are ready to step through a door while life is quietly building a larger one. Many of the greatest blessings come after a period of waiting, not because you were forgotten, but because your faith needed to deepen and your understanding needed to expand. When you trust that delay has purpose, you stop resisting the journey. You stop assuming the worst and begin expecting the best. You let go of anxiety and step into alignment with a higher timeline, one that sees beyond your current moment. The universe does not deny what your soul is ready to receive. It simply ensures the delivery happens at the moment when it will serve you, transform you, and elevate you the most. Trust is the quiet but powerful force that holds your prayer together, because without trust, a prayer becomes nothing more than words spoken into the air. When you pray and then immediately begin worrying, doubting, or trying to force an outcome, it's like planting a seed and digging it up every day to check if it's doing anything. You don't give your desire the space, the time, or the stillness it needs to grow. Trust is the soil that allows your intention to take root. It is the invisible agreement you make with the universe that says, I have done my part, now I allow life to do its part. When you trust your prayer, you are not ignoring reality. You are inviting a higher reality to enter your situation. Trust changes your inner posture. Instead of being tense, fearful, or impatient, you shift into a state of openness. Your mind stops racing, your heart stops gripping, and your spirit becomes receptive. Trust softens your resistance, and resistance is often what blocks the very things you're trying to manifest. Trust also means letting go of the need to control how the answer appears. So often, the universe answers our prayers through unexpected channels, people we don't anticipate, or opportunities that don't look like the ones we imagined. But when you trust, you stop trying to script every detail of your blessing. You allow room for something better, something wiser, something more aligned with your growth. You begin to see that every closed door is not a punishment but a redirection. Every pause is not a setback but a recalibration. Trust turns frustration into patience and fear into faith. It keeps your heart steady even when your surroundings appear uncertain. Another part of trust is believing that you are worthy of the very thing you prayed for. Many people pray for healing, love, abundance, or opportunities, but deep down they doubt whether they truly deserve them. That doubt becomes a silent contradiction to the prayer. Trust means accepting that what you asked for is not too big, too late, or too impossible. It means recognizing that the same force that placed the desire in your heart also placed the path to fulfill it in your life. Trust says, what I seek is seeking me too. This kind of confidence creates an energetic alignment where you no longer chase outcomes, you attract them. You no longer cling to fear, you lean into faith, you no longer pray from desperation, you pray from certainty. When trust becomes part of your prayer, you begin to walk through life knowing that the answer is unfolding even when you can't yet see the form it will take. Your prayer is already moving mountains long before the results become visible, because the moment you release a sincere intention, the universe begins responding in ways your eyes cannot yet detect. Just because you can't see the movement doesn't mean the movement isn't happening. Life often works in silence, in hidden shifts, in small changes that later reveal themselves as the very foundation of your answered prayer. When you pray, you activate a chain reaction, not only in the spiritual realm but within your own energy. Your thoughts start aligning with possibility, your emotions begin to soften, and your inner world turns toward hope instead of fear. This internal transformation is the first ripple of your prayer being answered. You may not notice the difference at first, but something inside you begins to rise, guiding you to decisions, people, and paths that match what you've asked for. Often, the universe starts preparing your blessing by adjusting everything around you. It moves the right people into your life, removes the ones who block your growth, reshapes opportunities, and redirects circumstances. Sometimes you will experience sudden endings or unexpected changes, not because your prayer was ignored, but because life is making room for what you asked for. A prayer cannot thrive where old limitations still exist, so the universe clears the space. What looks like loss is often the first sign of alignment. What feels like confusion may actually be the pathway to clarity. Behind every shift there is movement. Behind every pause there is preparation. Behind every challenge there is restructuring. Your prayer also begins to influence your behavior. You start noticing signs you used to overlook, feeling nudges you used to ignore, and recognizing synchronicities that guide you forward. You may encounter someone at just the right time, hear words that speak to your soul, or see an opportunity that aligns perfectly with your desire. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that your prayer is in motion. Even delays carry meaning. They give you time to grow into the person who can hold the blessing you requested. Sometimes the universe is not waiting to answer you. You are being prepared to receive what you asked for without fear, doubt, or self-sabotage. The energy of your prayer travels farther than you realize. It stirs unseen forces, opens invisible doors, and sets in motion events that will align at precisely the right moment. Just because the blessing hasn't appeared doesn't mean it isn't on its way. A prayer is never a weak gesture. It is one of the strongest declarations a human being can make because it expresses faith in something greater than current circumstances. When you pray, you are not begging life to change, and you are not speaking from powerlessness. You are stepping into a partnership with the divine, aligning yourself with a force that understands your path far better than your fears ever could. A prayer is a statement that says you believe guidance is available, support is present, and possibilities still exist even when you can't see them yet. It shifts you from carrying everything alone to trusting that a wiser energy is working beside you. So many people treat prayer as a last resort, when in truth it is a moment of alignment, clarity, and spiritual authority. When you pray with conviction, you stop trying to control every detail. You stop assuming you have to solve life solely through effort. You tap into a deeper wisdom that knows how to orchestrate outcomes beyond your imagination. There is something transformative about approaching prayer not with desperation but with certainty. It changes the energy behind the words. Instead of pleading, you are affirming. Instead of asking from a place of fear, you are choosing from a place of trust. And when you believe your prayer holds power, you begin to move differently. Your decisions become calmer, your outlook becomes clearer, and your heart becomes more open. You start noticing opportunities that previously felt invisible. You begin recognizing guidance in the form of intuition, signs, and unexpected encounters. You attract the very things you once chased because your internal state has shifted from uncertainty to confidence. Prayer is not about convincing the universe to give you something. It is about preparing yourself to receive what has always been available to you. A sincere prayer also changes the way you perceive challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as punishments or setbacks, you begin seeing them as part of the unfolding process. The difficulties you face may actually be steering you toward what you asked for. The delays may be strengthening you so you can handle the blessing without losing yourself. The redirections may be protecting you from paths that would have harmed your spirit. When you believe in the power of your prayer, you stop resisting these shifts. You begin trusting the journey even when it doesn't make sense. You develop the inner knowing that everything is moving you forward, not holding you back. A prayer becomes a reminder that you are guided, supported, and seen, even in your quietest moments. It becomes an anchor that keeps you steady while life rearranges itself to align with your intention. When you trust in your prayers, you begin to understand that the answer is already on its way the moment you release it, even if you cannot see the movement yet. Trust shifts you from anxiety to assurance, from fear to calmness, and from doubt to a deep inner knowing that what you asked for is moving toward you. Many people pray and then immediately return to worrying, questioning whether they will ever receive what they asked for. This doubt creates an internal conflict, weakening the very intention they just released. Trust is the remedy that dissolves this conflict. It allows you to rest in the confidence that the universe does not ignore sincere prayers and that divine timing is always aligned with your highest good. Trust does not demand that you see the full path. It simply invites you to take the next step with faith, knowing the rest will unfold at the right moment. Trust also transforms the way you interpret silence. There will be times when you pray and hear nothing in return. No sign, no change, no clarity. The silence is not abandonment, it is preparation. Seeds grow quietly beneath the soil long before they break through the surface. In the same way, your answered prayer often begins in places hidden from your view. Trust teaches you not to panic in the waiting period. Instead of assuming nothing is happening, you learn to believe that everything is happening in the unseen. Trust keeps you steady during the seasons when your situation looks the same, even though your future is being reshaped beneath the surface. It strengthens your patience and deepens your faith, teaching you that silence is not the end of the story, but the space where the miracle takes root. Another powerful aspect of trust is its ability to shift your emotional state. When you release fear and embrace certainty, your entire energy aligns with the outcome you've prayed for. You become more receptive, more peaceful, and more connected to the flow of life. You start recognizing signs and synchronicities that guide you, signs you may have overlooked in a state of worry. Your intuition becomes clearer, your decisions become wiser, and your steps become more inspired. Trust makes you available to receive blessings instead of blocking them through doubt. The universe responds most strongly to a heart that believes, not one that fears. When you trust in your prayer, you stop chasing what you desire and naturally begin attracting it. Your faith becomes a magnet, drawing into your life the very experiences, people, and opportunities that match your intention. Your trust becomes the bridge between your request and its fulfillment, allowing the universe to deliver what is already yours in the moment you are ready to receive it. There is a profound shift that happens when you begin to understand that you are not meant to carry your life's burdens alone, and this understanding becomes clearer the more you lean into the power of prayer. Trusting your prayer means trusting that you are supported, guided, and accompanied by a presence that sees what you cannot see and knows what you cannot yet understand. When you release a prayer, you are not simply speaking into the air. You are entering into a collaboration with the divine. You are saying, "I am willing to allow something greater than my fear to take the lead." This kind of trust softens the weight you've been holding. It brings a sense of relief, reminding you that you are not navigating your challenges with your own strength alone. Instead of feeling isolated or overwhelmed, you start to feel connected to a wisdom that gently nudges you in the direction you're meant to go. This trust also changes the way you show up in your daily life. When you believe that your prayer is being heard and responded to, you stop living from desperation and start living from confidence. You make decisions from a place of clarity rather than panic. You approach obstacles with a calmer heart, knowing that they are not signs of failure but parts of the process. Even when circumstances look uncertain or when things don't go according to your plan, you maintain the inner knowing that you're being guided towards something better. Trust becomes the steady ground beneath your feet, helping you remain centered no matter what shifts around you. It gives you the strength to keep moving even when progress feels slow. It gives you the patience to wait even when you crave immediate results. And it gives you the courage to stay aligned with your intention, even when doubt tries to pull you away. Another deep aspect of this trust is the way it expands your awareness. When you lean into the idea that you are supported, you begin noticing signs, guidance, and intuitive nudges that were always there but previously buried under anxiety. Synchronicities become clearer. Opportunities feel more aligned. The right people cross your path at the right moment. It's not that these things suddenly appear, it's that you are now in the mental and emotional state to recognize them. Trust heightens your sensitivity to guidance, making you more aware of the subtle ways the universe communicates. Instead of forcing outcomes, you begin allowing them. Instead of clinging to fear, you lean into flow. Prayer becomes less about asking and more about receiving. It becomes less about pleading for change and more about aligning with it. The more you trust, the more you realize that your life is not random, your prayers are not ignored, and your steps are not without direction. Faith is the bridge between the prayer you release and the reality you hope to see, and it is more than simply believing that something will happen. It is the unshakable certainty that the universe is already at work on your behalf. When you pray, you are initiating a dialogue with a force far greater than yourself. And faith is what allows that dialogue to flourish. Without faith, your prayer becomes a request whispered into uncertainty, easily swallowed by doubt or fear. But when you couple your prayer with faith, you create a magnetic field of energy that draws your desires toward manifestation. Faith is not passive, it is active trust. It moves through every thought, every emotion, and every action, creating alignment between your internal state and the external reality you are calling into being. When you have faith, you are no longer operating from worry or desperation. You are operating from assurance that what you have asked for is already beginning to manifest, even if the evidence has not yet appeared in the physical world. Faith also transforms the way you experience waiting. Often, the greatest struggle in prayer is patience. You pray for something, yet it does not arrive immediately, and your mind fills with anxiety. Faith shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is already in motion. It allows you to rest in the confidence that the forces of the universe are working in perfect timing, even when that timing is beyond your comprehension. Faith gives you the ability to release control, to stop forcing outcomes, and to stop measuring results according to your schedule. Instead, you learn to trust that every moment of delay, every challenge, and every subtle nudge is part of the orchestration that will bring your prayer into full expression. Faith does not demand understanding, it simply asks that you surrender to the process and believe in the unseen work taking place on your behalf. Another dimension of faith is the way it strengthens your inner alignment. When you hold faith in your prayer, your thoughts, emotions, and actions begin to resonate at the same frequency as your intention. You become more attuned to opportunities, more receptive to guidance, and more aware of synchronicities that confirm the presence of divine orchestration. Faith encourages you to act when necessary, but without fear, hesitation, or doubt. It allows you to move forward confidently, knowing that each step is supported. In this way, faith is both the anchor and the compass of your spiritual journey. It maintains your stability in moments of uncertainty, while simultaneously guiding you toward the fulfillment of your desires. It reminds you that your prayer is not just a hope, but a declaration of alignment, and that every effort you make, every thought you nurture, and every moment you wait is already contributing to the manifestation of what you have called into your life. The essence of a prayer is not only in what you ask for, but in the transformation that occurs within you as you release it. And understanding this is where the true power lies. Every sincere prayer carries with it the energy of intention, hope, and trust. And when you release that energy, it begins a process that is as much internal as it is external. Often, people focus solely on the outcome of their prayer. The visible answer, the change in circumstance, the arrival of what they desire, and overlook the fact that the act of praying itself starts to realign their thoughts, emotions, and perspective. When you pray, You are consciously directing your attention to the highest possibility, which immediately begins to shift your mindset from limitation to expansion. This shift is subtle yet profound, because it begins to influence the way you perceive challenges, opportunities, and even the ordinary events of your life. Your internal state becomes a fertile ground for what you have requested, preparing you to recognize and embrace the answer when it appears. Praying also opens your awareness to guidance that is often invisible in the moment. While you may feel that nothing is changing externally, your intuition, insights, and awareness begin to heighten. You notice coincidences that once went unseen. You sense opportunities and connections that were always present but previously unnoticed. Prayer aligns your consciousness with a broader intelligence, giving you the ability to perceive what is already moving in your favor. It is this invisible orchestration that often produces the most profound results, as it sets in motion events, relationships, and circumstances that will eventually converge to answer your prayer. By focusing on your inner alignment rather than the immediate outcome, you cultivate patience, clarity, and resilience, allowing yourself to flow with the process rather than resist it. Furthermore, prayer is a declaration of faith in action. It is the conscious act of saying, "I believe that what I am asking for is already being considered and prepared." This faith transforms your energy from one of doubt and fear to one of openness and receptivity. It encourages you to release control while simultaneously stepping into co-creation with the forces that govern life. The act of praying reinforces your connection to the source of inspiration, guidance, and opportunity, reminding you that you are not navigating your journey alone. Each prayer, no matter how small it seems, is a ripple that sets things into motion, both internally and externally, beginning a subtle but powerful transformation that moves toward manifestation. The true essence of prayer is not only in asking, but in the profound shift it creates in your perspective, for when you pray, you are engaging with a force far greater than yourself, one that responds not merely to words, but to the sincerity and alignment of your heart. Every prayer carries with it energy, intention, and belief, and the moment you release it, a process begins that extends far beyond your immediate perception. Many people measure the power of their prayers by the speed of visible results. Yet the unseen work that unfolds internally and externally is often far more significant than any immediate external change. Prayer begins to recalibrate your inner state, turning fear into faith, doubt into confidence, and confusion into clarity. It is a subtle transformation, but one that reshapes the way you approach life. By praying, you are not simply requesting an outcome. You are consciously choosing to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the highest possibility available to you. This alignment creates a magnetic pull, drawing opportunities, guidance, and solutions toward you in ways that you may not immediately recognize. When you pray, you also cultivate a heightened sensitivity to the signs, synchronicities, and guidance that the universe places along your path. What once seemed like coincidence begins to reveal itself as divine orchestration. You may encounter the right person at the right moment, hear words that speak directly to your situation, or recognize a path that previously seemed invisible. These subtle indications are the ways your prayer is being answered behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances that will eventually manifest in tangible ways. Prayer opens your consciousness to these possibilities, allowing you to act with clarity and discernment. It strengthens your intuition, deepens your awareness, and helps you make decisions from a place of alignment rather than fear. In this way, prayer is both a guide and a preparatory force, preparing you to receive the blessings you have asked for in the moment they are ready to be delivered. Moreover, prayer is an act of faith faith that
and you
transforms
trade
your
the
internal
heavy
energy.
weight of
It
anxiety
shifts your
for a
focus from
profound
scarcity
sense
to
of
abundance,
peace.
from helplessness
When you
to
pray
empowerment,
with
and from
sincerity,
anxiety
you are
to
making
peace.
a
When you
powerful
pray
declaration
sincerely,
to
you
the
declare your
universe.
belief that the universe is
You are
responsive,
stating
that your
your
intentions
belief
matter,
that it
and
is
that unseen
responsive,
forces are
that your
working on your
intentions
behalf.
truly
This
matter,
belief
and
generates
that
a powerful
unseen
resonance
forces
that
are
begins to
actively
influence
working
both
on
your
your
inner
behalf.
world and your external circumstances. Each prayer, regardless of its size or complexity, sets into motion a ripple effect of energy that reaches far beyond your immediate awareness, gradually aligning events, people, and opportunities to
Your
support the
reality
fulfillment of
begins
your
to mirror
request.
the